So, what is consciousness? And what is thought? And do they exist in the same space? Are they the same thing experientially? So, the first thing I have to say about this is that anything I say, any definition I give, any pointing I give, can be turned into a thought. And the sense of being a thinker, living in a world of thoughts, and being identified with that mechanism of thinking, such that what seems like reality is really a series of thoughts, it's conceptual, can remain intact. So it's imperative to recognize when I point in the way I'm going to point and talk about this subject specifically, awakening, consciousness, and thoughts, that I'm talking about direct experience, as close as you can get to the experience of being you, the aware one, the one who's taking all this in, the one who inhabits your life just as it is right now, without thinking about it, without remembering anything about yourself or anything you've learned about yourself or learned about being a human or inhabiting a body, or anything you've learned about thoughts or consciousness, or anything you're imagining about the future, where you're going to go after you watch this video, or what you're going to be doing later today. So I'm referencing the center of your experience right now without any of those modifiers, any of those beliefs, any of those learned layers of identity. And if you can approach what I'm saying from there, then you have an opportunity to touch directly into what it is that I'm pointing to. Because I'm not trying to teach you anything. I'm not trying to add another concept or modify the concepts that you might already hold as true or as knowledge. This really isn't about knowledge. It's about the mechanism of knowingness, the mechanism of consciousness, the mechanism of self-awareness. So, starting where you are without thinking about it, because if a thought comes up about, oh, where am I? I'm here, I'm there, that's a thought. But you are the one aware of that thought. You're just the knowingness of that thought. And notice that thought will subside. And the knowingness does not leave. The knowing that you are right now doesn't leave, and it actually doesn't change as that thought subsides. That thought can be anything. It can be a doubt. It can be a conclusion. Oh, I get this, right? That's another thought. So no matter the content of the thought, the truth remains that as the thought forms and dissipates, the knowingness that made it possible to even reference that thought or be aware of that thought has not changed at all. Do you notice this? You don't have to think about it. You don't have to conceptualize it. You don't have to go out to thoughts to confirm that the one that's aware of thoughts is also aware of itself. It's just that ability to know. It's a knowingness that can reflect. It can make an object of a thought, meaning think about anything. It can think about a visual image. It can think about a narrative. It can think about a concept. And it can know all of those. And it can also sort of retract back into its own knowingness. It can just be the knowing without the knowing of anything. And in this space of knowing, when we don't attach our attention onto a thought object, which includes anything you've ever thought about or anything you've ever experienced, then there is just the pure knowing. You could say it's pure experience. You could say it's pure I, or just being, without knowing anything about anything really. Can you sense into this? Now, if you do sense into this, that's great. Now, the next step is don't think about it. Don't conclude anything. Don't record this experience by turning it into a thought. Just stay here. Don't move your mind. Don't start thinking. Just remain. The noticing that you are awake, alert, is automatic. It doesn't require a thought to confirm. That you are aware does not require a thought to confirm. So just stay there. Stay in the non-thinkingness, which is pure knowingness. What thoughts do is they divide up the knowingness, apparently. They don't actually, but it seems that way. They seem to divide up you, your world, your understanding, your attention. And yet, that which seems to be divided really never changes, never moves. It never actually gets divided. It's just that when attention gets bound into thoughts and concepts, the experience of division sets in. And yet, the blank screen of what you are, the noticing of all of it, is untouched by any of that. It remains pristine, unmoved, unmoving, pure knowing. It's something like a light that shines infinitely into itself. The light can illuminate an object, like a flashlight can illuminate an object across the room. Like consciousness can illuminate a thought that says, oh, I know this or believe that, or oh, I had this experience or that experience, or oh, I doubt this, I don't understand this, right? Those are all the objects of thought. Those are the objects illuminated by the internal flashlight shining on objects across the room. But the light itself is unchanged by the objects. The light itself is illuminating in nature. And so we can notice just the light, just the illuminating nature of knowing, without illuminating anything specific, without creating the sense of division of subject, the thinker, and object, the thought. And just notice the illumination is the whole shebang. It's the thinker, the thoughts, the movement of consciousness. It is knowingness. It is the ability to know without the requirement to know. And knowing only itself, it's clear that it's undivided. It's undefined by thoughts, by nature. Remain in the undefined, yet aware, alert, pure knowingness. Don't move. That's the practice of I Am.